What's going on, guys? This is going to be a master key on how I trade and everything about my trading so that when you come on the lives, when you're watching some of our videos, you understand the way I'm getting these levels, the way I'm getting these ranges, what I'm looking for, how I'm using market cipher, and the rest. So I'm just going to go through a basic way of everything so that you guys have a complete package so that when we're doing the lives or whatever, you can understand, oh, this is how he pulls his fixed range volume profile. This is how he pulls his Fibonacci retracement tool. This is how he uses his trend-based Fib analysis. This is how he does this. And then it's very, very easy for you guys to do it yourself. And I wanted to make this video for a while now, but now that we've gotten a whole bunch of new people, and thank you guys for joining us, and subscribe if you haven't already. Very grateful for every single one of you guys for hanging out with us in the Otter Gang. But let's jump into it. First, we're going to go over, I believe we should do a fixed range volume profile. So for all those who are new, there's a fixed range volume profile up in here. Where is it here? Fixed range volume profile. So I have it saved on favorites. That's why I can't find it right now. But you get your fixed range volume profile, which should be, I just missed it, right here under volume based. Okay, so you have anchored VWAP, fixed range volume profile. This is one of my main tools I always use to find key levels. Okay, you can use the VRVP on an indicator, but you want to definitely use the fixed range volume profile. So for here, you can pull any range. Now, you want to isolate price. So let's go out onto the 3 hour and let's just take a look. This is Bitcoin, and we're just going to isolate price. So when we're isolating price, we want to grab areas. Okay, we want to grab this area. We want to grab this area down below to make sure that we're adding confluences to our trade. We will want to grab this area, right? And we can isolate price within these ranges. So by doing this, we give ourselves some key levels in order to be successful traders. So let's take a look here, right? So when we're in this area, pulling a fixed range volume profile tool, as long as I have this candle in here, you can see this one here that really starts to move, I can pull from anywhere over here to the left of that candle. So I go from the left to the right, and I want to isolate price to basically the last candle within that box that I drew. So I'm going to go from here to here, right? And I'm not worried about the stuff above here, and I'm not worried about the stuff below here. If I wanted to isolate this area, I would do so by going over here and isolating it. So I've isolated price here. Now I want to identify shelves. I always talk about shelves, okay? Yes, we have our value area high, our value area low, and our point of control. That's great. However, I don't use those necessarily. I use shelves. So whenever I look at a range like this, I identify that where volume shelves. So you can see here, and you can see here, and then you can see here, and you can see here. So by doing this, this is where I look for a reaction of price. Okay, so you can see on the fixed range volume profile that we build a big volume shelf here, we build a big one here, and I'll do this with every single range, right? Yes, we have the value area high, but this gives me a trade setup in the sense that when we get overextended, like here and here, I'm looking for longs. When we get overextended to the upside, I'm looking for shorts, vice versa, right? So, but it also allows me as an intraday trader in shorter term time frames to find key levels of where I'm going to get a reaction on price. Okay, I always talk about a reaction on price. I will isolate price into certain areas where I will be looking for a possible rejection, like we got here. Look, it came up, it struggled, it held support, probably a bearish divergence here, dropped back down, right? So this is areas that I use to isolate price, right? And you can do this with any range you want, right? So that's how I use volume, right? So if I was doing this range, same kind of deal. I'm going to pull my volume from the left of where literally this is to possibly this candle here. Doesn't really matter, right? Forget about the stuff on the outside. Look at this big volume spike here. There's, oops, wrong, Alt-H, Alex. And there's one here, right? And then there's one here, and then there's one here. Yes, we know there's a point of control where price typically works back to, but this gives me key levels, right? And this allows me to catch more trades and not just these giant wicks outside the value area high, right? So use that to your advantage. So I want to make sure that you're aware of how I use that first and foremost. Secondly, let's go into how I use a fib. Okay, so Fibonacci is the man. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 2 is 3. 3 + 2 is 5. It's that sequence that we love, and it's just how people tend to behave, right? So we always pull from wicks and we always go to highs, right? So wicks to highs, and then we have some extension levels down below. Now, if you're wondering what the settings are, it's very, very basic. We've added our golden pocket here, our 0.65, and then we have our 272 extensions, our 618, and our 2. And you could add like a 2618 as well if you'd like, which works out quite well for extension levels. But for retracements, we typically are targeting the golden pocket /786. That is my key target that I'm looking for, or I'm looking for an aggressive continuation off of a 382. Okay, this is a platinum pocket, the 886. I do not use that quite often. That was just given to me by Piper Academy. Shout out to Piper Academy. And then I use the extension levels to find price discovery points where we can look for a possible rejection. If we get into price discovery and I'm looking to find an area above, we can use that as well. Now, one of the tricks that I use is I like to pull from the start of moves. Okay, so what do I mean by the start of moves? I'm not pulling. So if I'm trying to find this retracement here, okay, this is on the 15-minute, and I'm trying to find this retracement here, I'm not pulling my fib from down here. Okay, this is all off the top, by the way. I haven't planned this at all. This is just how I use it. So I would pull from the start of the move. Where's the start of the move? It's right here. So I would pull from here to the top here. And look at that. Beautiful golden pocket retracement. And you can catch these. And I believe we might have caught this in the Discord. And join us in the free Discord. Link is in the description below. We got 4 amazing traders and a great community of people sharing their trades, free trade setups, a bunch of profitable traders. I mean, it's all beautiful, juicy trades. So you can catch these beautiful moves. And I share my charts as well every single day. So this is what I would do, is I'd start pulling it from the start of the move to the top of the move, okay? And then you can do it vice versa. But we always want to identify trend. Trend is always king. With me, my first rule is identifying trend. Whenever I come to the charts, you identify trend. And then you can pull fibs on larger time scales, okay? You can go swing low to swing high, right? And you can see that 786 area that we target, right? So whenever I have a target zone, I will put the target zone here. I will typically make it a buy zone, right? And then we look for a reaction of price, which would be a bullish divergence because the trend is to the upside here, right? So by doing that, that is how I use my Fibonacci tool for catching wicks, okay? But we want to wait for confirmations within those zones. Now, if we go into shorter term timeframes, which you guys know that I love to trade the shorter term timeframes, there's many ways to use this tool, okay? So you can pull for continuation, right? So big scammy wick here. We wait for the start of the move, which is here. Then we go to the top. We got a 382 continuation, 0.5 continuation there, okay? Then we can pull it to this one here. And we can see we have an area of confluence within here as well. Okay, so shorter term timeframes, longer term timeframes, you can use it within all of these areas as well. So how do I use an extension? Okay, how would I use an extension? Let's go over to Caspa quickly and show you an extension. Okay, so we're kind of in price discovery here. So how would I use an extension in Caspa? And Caspa's taking a nice little dump today, but we do have a buy zone, like I said, down at $12 and 12.8 cents, right? So I will pull from swing high to swing low, right? So I'd go all the way down here, wick to wick, okay? And then I would go above here, and then I'd pull my extension. So we got a 272 here. We got a 618, and I just marked these out, and these would allow me to use for take profits, okay? So extensions are great for price discovery and for take profits to where you think price will come and hit on the way up. Okay, so that's how I would use extensions. And you can also use extensions to find key levels in front of you. So you'd pull from swing high here. Oops, wrong tool. You'd pull from swing high here to swing low here. And look at that. Beautiful 618 touch, right? So you can be targeting this as a take profit or as a short trade, right? So if you were in a long from here, right, you're protecting your downside. You could have this as your take profit. I would front run these a little bit, okay? So I would put my take profit just in front, just to guarantee that they do get filled. And then also you can have this as an area that you're looking to sell, okay? So then you would target this out here, and you would make this a possible sell zone so that you're ready, that when price comes up here, you've extended out, that's the 618, and you can sell from that area as well. Okay, so very quick, but how I use these tools, and make sure you guys play around with how you use your Fibonacci tool. It's a great tool. I tend to lean on it quite often, especially like if I'm trading a lot of chop sideways, and in an area like this, I can pull it throughout here where I'm looking for continuations or retracements or reactions on price or take profits, right? So it can be a very nice guide. You can see the 786 and the golden pocket area can be a very nice guide when to take profits, when to get out of a trade, when to get into a trade, and vice versa. So it's a very, very useful tool. Now I want to go into anchor or a trend-based fib analysis. So trend-based fib, let's go over to something that's in price discovery. I know that we had a massive AI pump just recently. Render is flying. Okay, so render, trend-based fib. So a trend-based fib is basically 3 points. You go low to high to low, and you get an extension out on your Fibonacci. Okay, so this is a very useful tool, and you can do vice versa in a downtrend where you're going from high to low to high like this, right, in a downtrend. So it's just that, and you want to grab key anchor points with confluences. Okay, so if I'm over here, let's say the price hasn't done all of this yet, right? I will take my high, my low to high. So I'll go from low right here to high right here to low, right? And this one has to be in front of this one, right? So that's your trend, right? So, and then I'll look for confluence. So I can see, look at this, golden pocket touch, right? There's a take profit, right? 1-to-1 extension. We got a our 618. So then I'll go and mark out typically my 618s, my whole numbers, my 2 of 2, right? My 2 618, my 3 of 3, and my 3 618. And this will give me take profits along the way. Or if we're going into price discovery, where I can look for reactions on prices, where we can look for the price to have a reaction along the way up, okay? And this could be take profits, this could be anything. So that's another tool that we use quite often on the channel. Now let's go over back to Bitcoin and show you how we track momentum. Shout out to Kyle at InvestorShare. We just did a video, but he taught me this little trick. So whenever you're in a trade, you want to track your momentum, okay? So momentum, he calls it, but you can see that we got momentum here, we got momentum here, okay? And these are just trend lines. They're very, very simple trend lines, but what do they help you do? They help you hold your trades longer. They help you realize when you have a break, okay? So by seeing this, you can see very, very good examples throughout this chart of breaks and opportunities to get into trades. So let's say I took a short position here, okay? When am I getting out, right? So this allows me to see that I can move my stop loss and my take profits down as we continue to march down this trend line, which allows me to make more profits and to have a much better mindset as price is working its way down. I can move my stop loss to here. I can move my stop losses to here. Then it comes back and it stops me out. But guess what? I've made all this profit here, okay? So it's a very good way of tracking momentum and the trend upwards. Also, it allows me to identify breaks. So we love a good old break and retest on this channel as well. So for me, it's identifying something like this where you can see a very clear upwards trend line. I would say it's here, right? So we come back, we retest. So we break, we retest, and then that's our entry, okay? So we can find some multiple examples. Let's go back a little bit here and find some other examples. This one looks pretty good as well. So the break and the retest, right? So we track the momentum down, right? You get the break and the retest. Now, sometimes it isn't perfect. Sometimes it isn't like right back down to here, right? You get this massive scam wick, right? You break that downwards trend, you retest, you know you're in an uptrend, and you continue to march. So this is an initial signal that you can find a trade from. Okay, so this is good. And then you could also pull like a fib 382 bounce, I believe. Like just by eye, you'll eventually be able to see these, but you can see here, yeah, almost a 382 bounce continuation to the upside. So we love a good trend line, watching momentum to the upside, not only for breakout trades, right? You can see this one here. This one's quite nice, where you can track this all the way up, right? All the way up in profits, right? You're not worried. You're moving your stop loss as you march up, right? So stop loss move, stop loss move, stop loss move, right? And then you finally get that break right here with confirmed candles on a 15-minute, and then the perfect retest into a short, right? And you could take the short there, or you could understand that we're going to retrace from there, and you can probably pull a fib to grab this area in here. So how would you pull that fib? Well, you go off where the move started. I would go off of here. Where did this move start? Ask yourself. It started right here, right? This is a higher high, right? This is a lower high. Here's your higher high. So this is your start of your move. You pull that, swing low to swing high. Look at that. Golden pocket, perfect retracement. You'd be targeting this area, right? That would be your buy zone. And by doing that, you would have that wick that came back in and the retest and the move up for a beautiful trade to the upside. Okay, so this is a whole bunch of information condensed into one. I understand that, but I just wanted to make this so that you guys know when I'm screaming at you and yelling at you Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we go live, you guys can follow along too and understand the way I'm trading. Now we're going into the papa of them all, and that is Market Cipher. Okay, so we love all that stuff. We'll add those confluences to each other, but we use Market Cipher, and then we will use volume and VWAP. Okay, volume and VWAP are king for free tools, right? And volume will simply allow you to know when moves are strong and when moves are weak. Okay, with volume, you can identify big moves, weak moves, and all the rest. So let's go into volume first, and then we'll go into VWAP and Market Cipher. So volume here, we'll identify our spikes in volume, right? So big volume spike here, rejected, coming back in, volume lowers down. Okay, so we want to identify if volume's coming in, when volume's coming out and cooling off, right? So volume comes in, a hard aggressive push down, failure to get down, reversal, continuation upwards on little volume, suggesting that we are going to continue to the upside. Okay, very easy volume analysis. So we use volume all the time. You can see here another volume spike. So let's get into it. The push up, okay, big rejection down, exhaustion wicks here, continues upwards with a little volume. Okay, so we want to see which way volume is pushing and then the way it cools off and the direction that it goes. So we know we're in an aggressive uptrend, right? So volume comes in to sell off, right? Big volume spike. However, it doesn't take much volume to come back up. So it tells me the bulls are still in control. Okay, so this is how I use volume. And it's very important. Use your rewind tool and watch volume. I suggest doing it on like a really low time frame, and you can actually see the way price reacts due to volume. Okay, that's going to be a very useful tool. Your rewind tool is your backtesting tool where you can watch price action, and I suggest doing this with Market Cipher on. You can watch price action and you can learn how volume reacts with the price as well. So you can see volume coming in, right? Little push up, more volume coming in. Okay, more volume coming in, continuation. Yep, continuation. Now big rejection. That looks like a rejection volume. Pushing down, look at that. Break of structure down below. Push back, retracement. So by doing this, you can get a good old mastery of volume. Volume takes time along with watching price action. Okay, price action is always going to be king alongside volume. And I don't know why, but I have the EMA moving average turned on. I don't typically have that turned on. And with volume, I always turn my candles to the same color. It doesn't matter if they're green or red. They're just volume, okay? It's a volume, okay? Make them the same color. Make them both green. Positive vibes, you know? All that good stuff. So, looking good for volume here. Now, let's go over to VWAP, baby. VWAP and market cipher. So VWAP is a volume weighted average price that I add confluence to my trade. So we are on the 5-minute chart here, and we are looking at VWAP. So VWAP here, you can see it resets every single day, and it's a volume weighted average price. So what does VWAP help me do? It helps me understand trend. It helps me understand where price is in relation to the average of the day, okay, to the average. So you can see here, sharp spike, that's a reset in VWAP. Let's go over to the 15-minute. It's a little bit easier to see. So VWAP spikes every single day, and it resets. Okay, so for VWAP, you can see here, you can see here. So here's 3 examples of VWAP. Okay, looking at VWAP, you get a support line. It breaks away. It returns to the VWAP. Okay, it breaks away. VWAP snaps back. Okay, you get this double top here, right? VWAP holds support, then it breaks through aggressively, returns to VWAP. Okay, now it holds it as support, and then it breaks away, returns to VWAP. Now, how do you use this to trade? Well, if we're pulling a fib and we know our key levels of support and resistance, and we know it's going to come back to VWAP, we can look for a possible long here, right? We can look for, oh, it's holding the VWAP. That's suggesting with low volume, VWAP's holding. That's suggesting more upside. Look, it pushes away, right? So even yesterday, we can see here, it came back to the VWAP twice, right? And now it's holding out flat for this low weekend volume. You can see how volume has definitely dropped off the map here on the volume and the VWAP. So you can see it's just flattening out. So VWAP is very useful in confluence with all the tools that we just threw at you guys. Okay, I know this is a lot, but this is just so you guys understand how I add confluence to all the trades. Okay, now we're going into market cipher. Now this is the king of them all, where we are looking for divergences, right? Volume, where the money is flowing and where the divergences lay, right? Momentum waves and trigger waves. Let's go into it. So we're looking for divergences, which means we're getting a lower low and a higher high on prices. So we get a higher high on prices and a lower low on our momentum waves. We're also looking for trigger waves. Now, I have 2 types of trigger waves that I identify. I identify these as trigger waves, and I identify this as a trigger wave. Now, what's the difference here? Okay, so the difference is when we are in an aggressive uptrend where we're oscillating above the 0 line, any dip below I consider a trigger wave. Because if we're in an aggressive trend, this little dip below is anchored by this little trigger wave. Okay, so these are massive moves to the upside because it tells me that the trend is still very much in control, but we get a little dip down below the 0 line, which is a massive shot to the upside, especially with green money flow. Okay, also we have anchor trigger waves. Okay, this is how I believe Face teaches it, where you get that continuation. Anchor below the 54. I have it set at 54 and 54 up here, so it gets one below here and one above, or vice versa, one above and one below. Okay, so vice versa. Very, very useful. This tool is amazing. And then we front run here. So we front run using VWAP. So if I go into the 4-hour here and I'm looking at Bitcoin, right? And I can see we're getting these beautiful green dots down below, right? That would be a trigger. That would be a trigger. This would be an anchor, but a low trigger. We understand where we are in the market, anchor trigger, right? So we are able to front run these green dots so we get these big moves, right? We want these big moves. So how do we do that? Well, we get to front run these. So we get the big anchor that leads us into this area, but we can also see the VWAP crossover. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one and this one. Okay, so what is the signal to get in here? Well, you got a VWAP crossover right here, right? So you can see the VWAP. I've changed this to a line, okay? It's easier for me to read as a line. VWAP line, okay? Very much easier for me to read. And then I can see when it's approaching the 0 line. Okay, so the 0 line on the VWAP is king. Okay, so looking through here, you get the VWAP crossover right here as well before. Okay, so when we dip below, we look for that crossover. How do we front run these? Well, we go into lower term time frames, right? Lower term time frames are going to give you that idea. So we're getting a VWAP crossover here on the 4 hour, right? We also have beautiful, beautiful inverse head and shoulders here on the momentum waves, and we can see that we are getting that beautiful crossover here from money flow into the red to the green. Okay, that's another way of identifying that. So market cipher is going to be your not only your divergences but your beautiful VWAP crossovers. We're on the 1 hour here. You can see you got that actually a candle early on the 1 hour here as well. So this is very, very, very useful in the grand scheme of things. Now, 4 hour money flow is going to be your go-to. Okay, 4 hour money flow will give you these crossovers that is so important in a trend. Okay, so you can see when we dip above and below, this is going to give you beautiful trend and where we're going, right? So you can see consolidation money's coming out here, right? Money came out over here. Okay, and then the crossover of the money flow, let's change that here. Let's change that here. And let's get rid of this one. If you longed here with a swing trade, you're laughing, right? If you longed here with a swing trade, you're laughing, right? We're in an aggressive uptrend, okay? So the money is going to be the king, right? The money is going to allow you to understand where we are, right? You can see right now, where are we right now? Money looks like it has peaked a little bit and it looks like it could be coming down. So what are we going to wait for? Money to turn back up. That's going to be our area where we're looking to get into a possible swing long, right? So these are just ways I use market cipher as well. And then we can always use it for an oscillating divergence. Okay, so the oscillating divergence is going to be the big creme de la creme. Okay, so let's go on the 15 and the oscillating divergences. Let's go and find some divergences. So we are looking for either anchor triggers. So anchor, trigger, anchor, trigger. Look at that. Beautiful anchor trigger. There's your long, right? There's your long right here. Also, we can look for higher highs and higher lows, right? So there we go. There's your divergence. Higher high, higher low. Beautiful. Into a short, right? Let's go over here. Let's see what else we can find. We can see that trend is moving up while momentum is moving down. There's another one. Beautiful, 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 right? Easy. It's easy once you see it. Now, this one's a little bit hard. So why is this one hard? Because it takes a while. It's diverging one, two, three, 4 times. How do we get that under wraps? Well, we track momentum, right? We track momentum. By tracking that momentum, we get that entry over here a little bit later, but it's safe. We're not getting wrecked here. We're not getting wrecked here. Okay? Beautiful. Let's go over here. Let's see what else we got. I love this stuff, guys, man. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to like and subscribe and hang out with us in the free Discord. Much love to every single one of you guys. So you can see multiple examples here of anchors and triggers, anchor, trigger, right? And it's just going through and identifying these along the way. And these will pop up multiple times throughout your trading day. You got a higher high and a lower low here, right? So there's your divergence. Take it to the downside, right? And these are nice moves, guys. These are like 1% moves. Like for me, throughout the day, I'm looking for that nice 1% move where I can capitalize on the market, right? So make sure to be identifying all the good, old, beautiful market cipher tools that you have at your disposal. You can also throw on market cipher A, where you're getting your blood diamonds and your reversals as well, and that can help you identify certain things as well. But that's enough out of me, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. I hope this gets to you well. I figured I would make this video to finally make sure that you guys are aware of what I'm looking at and how I'm trading. Much love to every single one of you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the lives and in the Discord. Peace out.